Hello and welcome back to Gabbing with Gabby Entertainment Podcast. I'm very excited because for this episode, I have my friend Cuatro Fluker here with me. We have been friends since like the first day of freshman year.
Yeah,
like we met literally during
That's
orientation
so
freshman year. Both were, as I recall, different majors as we are now.
Yes,
so we're very excited. Today's episode is going to be all about breaking into the entertainment industry as we are both seniors. We're heading on into that right now and it's all whole lot of craziness and a whole lot of excitingness. How are you feeling?
Running to a wall of bricks, I guess. But no, seriously, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Gabby.
Yeah, of course. So can you tell me a little bit about what you're currently studying right now and, you know, where your dreams and aspirations lie?
So right now I'm currently studying film and television. I'm a Bachelor of Arts in the film program here, and I've got a minor in psychology as well. And for my future, I mean, ultimately it's Hollywood, baby. It's where I want to be. So that's the end all be all for me. So we'll see where I end up being, but for the most part, tentatively, yeah.
That's awesome. So what initially made you make that? What was your major beforehand?
I had been in retail and consumer science and conservation biology. So it was science and then business, and then it was like I want to do what I want to do. And
yeah. So what? So is that what made you make the switch initially?
Pretty much, yeah. It was like some soul searching that, like, you know, I used to act a lot when I was younger, and I did theater in elementary school, and then throughout college, I just kind of like wanted to put myself into something where it would be like, oh, this would probably be good for me in the future and whatnot. But I didn't really see myself like panning out in such a way that I would really enjoy what I was studying, and so I just harkened back to like first semester junior year. I went back in my mind and I was like, man, what I really loved doing when I was little, and it was theater, it was acting, it was being a part of like film sets and being on that sort of, you know, on that kind of work site and whatnot. And I was like, well, I mean, there's a film program here, might as well just apply. It took me 2 days to get all the applications done. I submitted and I got accepted. So then I started the next semester, and since then it's just been, can't complain. I've just been having the best time of my life. So
that's awesome. I feel like we both have very similar U of A stories. When did you switch your major?
I switched like officially. So I applied for the transition in my first semester junior year back in October. And then the following semester I started. So my second semester junior year, I started studying film and television.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I initially was nutritional sciences. And that we met at the school.
We were in the science school.
Yes, we were in like the CALS school, College of Agriculture and Life Sciences.
Yes.
And
that's so funny.
I was just like, I think I've talked about this on my podcast, but I don't know if I've ever told you. It was like one of those things where I hated my nutrition classes, and I was like, if this is what I'm doing for the next 8+ years, like I was going to be potentially like miserable.
Yeah.
And like everyone has their own, you know, path, and like some people love it, wasn't my thing. And I was like, okay, I was talking to my parents, I was like, I don't know what I want to switch to. And they were like, well, what are you strong at? And I'm like, strong at talking. And then I'm also really strong at writing. And since I was little, we had a family friend who is a news director, or no, he was the GM of one of our news stations back at home. That's and when I was little, he was always like, I see you working on news in the future. And I was like, nah, like I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a little white lab coat, you know, vibes. And then I was thinking back to those like moments, and I was like, you know what? Let's take on a journalism major. Let's see what it is. Love it. I mean, I'm not going into journalism anymore, but I'll go work in entertainment in Hollywood.
We know what we love, you know, and that's the important thing, right? I mean, so ultimately, like, as long as you found yourself directed in that direction and your heart feels like it's excited doing it, you know, I think you're doing the right thing for yourself.
Exactly.
Ultimately.
Have you done any projects so far here at the University of Arizona that you feel like have set you up for, like, success in the future that, like, you have really, you know, that made you really love the whole industry as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly blossomed into, like I said, I used to act a lot, and I've been able to act in a couple of projects that the seniors, so there's Bachelor of Arts and there's fine art students. The fine art students, they get to do a lot more of the production heavy sort of things with film, so like that's on set, directing the camera, you know, running assistant direction and stuff like that. And so I've been able to act on their stuff, and I mean, the things that people have told me about like how they appreciate what I'm able to do and all that. It's like, people are telling me, like, you should really keep doing this. And I'm like, well, I haven't done this in such a long time. It's crazy. Like, I really appreciate it, though. And so I think ultimately, like, acting specifically, and then also being able to write as well. I've taken some sitcom writing classes.
So cool.
Oh my gosh, we can talk about the curriculum because it is
God,
really
so
cool to get up to, honestly. But like I've gotten way stronger at writing myself, and I've become a lot more surefired in like how I see things, and that's ultimately because of like the opportunities that I've been given from my fellow student peers. I mean they see something in me that I could potentially see myself someday, or however it works. And so opportunity wise, yes, I think like as far as like acting reels go, which is where you kind of just like showcase all of your talent and whatnot. I mean, you know how it is. Like, yeah, I definitely have projects that have set me apart from other people and like how I can, orate emotion and whatnot. And so I'm just super excited.
What's your favorite thing that you've been a part of? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah. So, actually, I'm going to plug it. May 9th at the Fox Theater, we have I Dream in Widescreen, which is our senior Bachelor of Fine Arts students. They showcase, like a 7 to 10 minute short film that, they produced, directed, created all throughout of one of their semesters as seniors, and then the second semester they spent editing it. So I got to act in one of those, and it's called The Exchange Rate. It's directed by Sean Lehman, and written by Sarah Flowers, and it was an incredible experience. Yeah, so that's something that I've acted in, and I'm really proud of my performance there.
So are you hoping to specifically go into acting, or are you wanting to do more so the production side? Where do you like really like in 5 years from now, like where do you see yourself thriving?
Well, ultimately, like heart of hearts, it would be acting for sure. But a lot of people in the industry like get in just by being there, and just physically like being there and meeting the right people. A lot of it is just like who you meet and the kind of connections you make with people. Like if you're fun to work with, then you're going to be invited to do things, And so ultimately it's just at this point right now, I want to act for sure. But when it comes to like job and how that's all going to pan out, it takes some time, especially in Hollywood. It takes a little bit of time and grind to really like, get noticed in a sense.
Yeah.
And I'm all here for it. I mean, so 5 years from now, I see myself like on set, working with production and just being a part of, a filming process and showing people that, I've got some chops myself and that I could be a part of something bigger too. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is so cool because I love to hear like I'm interested entirely in the entertainment industry, but like a completely like different route, and it's so
cool. Are you
cool.
like journalism side of
I'm
entertainment?
hoping to do like
variety?
PR.
Oh, like
So
girl, that's awesome. That's sick.
My dream 5 years from now, hopefully, I'm going to USC for graduate school for PR and advertising.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Crazy. My life is not real right this second, but and my goal. I spoke to someone on the phone. Like about a month or two ago, and she is the vice president of PR and advertising for Warner Brothers, and she works on their campaigns for all like the blockbuster movies, and I'm like, that sounds like the coolest thing to possibly or publicity. If you ever need a publicist in the future.
Oh my gosh, wait, I mean, are all the pieces falling together? Okay.
I'm like, this is awesome. This is so awesome. I'm so excited.
This is great.
I'm so excited.
Seriously, that's awesome. Yeah. And that side of the industry is it's like so fast. And it's like there's always news, there's always stuff going on, and you're definitely not going to have a dull day there for sure.
Yeah.
And it's necessary too. It's a huge part of how the Hollywood system works itself.
How are you working it right now? Like, have you had any leads by any like in any way into the industry, or have you just been like connecting with people on like LinkedIn and stuff like that?
Ultimately, yeah, it's like LinkedIn, but where I live in California, I'm very fortunate enough to have family members, like friendly family members, like uncle, like he's just a really close family friend. So like I've got some people like that who are in the industry, and they are developed in their own sense, and so they're definitely like looking at me and being like, oh hey, it's gonna be fun when you get over here, because then there's gonna be some opportunity and whatnot.
That's awesome. Yeah,
for the most part, it's just kind of like at this point, it's like LinkedIn, reaching out to people, developing connections down here in Tucson, because there's a commercial marketplace here for like the local commercials and whatnot, and so I've been working that way. But it's just all about like making connections and just meeting the right people at the right time ultimately, because that's where it's it's like lightning strike.
Exactly. So. In this industry, I feel like it's always about like who you know and how you can work that into what you know.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like what's so crazy between like the industry that we're like trying to break into compared to so many others is like it's really it's you really have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, it's very differently structured. Like accolades can only get you so far, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a whole other side of it that's like are you a cool person? Like, can we work with you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's kind of like the end all be all. Like, you can have all the technical know-how in the world, but if you're kind of a stickler and you're kind of a dump truck to work with, people are going to be like, you know, we'd rather have the fun guy on, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's such good advice. Wait, so what if you had like a dream production to work on? In the whole grand scheme of things, like what would it be? Like if literally anything.
There are honestly so many that I have like are you talking about like of my own or like something that's already been created? Both. Okay.
Yeah,
so
why not?
oh gosh. How do I even start? Okay, so like dream production that I would want to be a part of would either be like one of the mobsters in Reservoir Dogs, or I would want to be like one of the crew in Predator 1987. So like those movies are some of my favorite movies ever, especially Predator. I mean, that's like my favorite action movie of all time. And like if I could just be on Dutch's crew, like a macho dude with a big old gun in a jungle, you know, that'd be so cool. That'd be awesome. But like of my own, like, I mean, I've had ideas for like, I think one of the cooler ideas that I've had would be like, you know, like a TV series or something like that. Cause like, you know, I've got this like little thing on my notes app where it's just like a blurb of like different ideas that I'll write down and then develop later on. But, you know, get those developed and like actually produce, like that'd be crazy. You know, that would be such a like a full circle moment of my life, you know, just to have like the crazy little 2-sentence blurb that turns into like a 2-season show, you know, like imagine that. That's just, that'd be wicked. So
that would be I think back to like OG like sitcoms that are famous, like Friends. Like that is my favorite show in the entire world. But just like I know way too much about like the cast and hyperfixation for a very long time.
I get it,
and just
man.
like
I got
seeing
hyperfixations of
what
movies
like
of my own.
they have like what they like started as like, their whole casting process of how they did it was just so cool. And like the fact that like that is like stuff that you're interested in is just so like, oh, it's like, so cool to hear about.
If I could write a spiritual successor to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I think that would probably be like one of the coolest things ever, because that show is hilarious to me. So yeah, I love that show. So
you mentioned you would love to work on like action movies and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people when they're acting, especially even in like journalism, stuff like that, we all have our niche of like what we like to do and like where, you know, if, for example, like, I don't know, I specifically like entertainment and focusing on like that thing people love to do, like news, stuff like that. Do you have a specific niche of like, I don't know how to word this, niche of like acting characters? Does that make sense? Like, what kind of character do you like to portray?
I don't know. I've been cast as some pretty horrible boyfriends recently, so that's basically, I've been kind of typecast recently, but I love it though. I love it. It's so fun. I think ultimately, like a character that I would want to be cast as would probably be like, have you ever seen Terminator?
I have.
Like the T-1000, you know, like the straight dull face, just kind of like, you know, robotic, like no, or like Agent Smith from The Matrix, like he's the guy who wears the sunglasses and he's like, we're looking for you, Mr. Anderson. You know, he's like just super monotone, like dry like that. Or it would probably be like some kind of gunslinger. Like that would be cool, just to be a gunslinger. Because I'm from Texas, so like it would be cool to kind of lean into the Southern history of myself.
Bring you back to the roots, for sure.
Exactly, yeah.
That's so funny. That's so fun. Like, I don't know, just hearing about this, it just reminds me of like, you know, why I want to work in the industry. Like seeing people's, because I feel like in entertainment specifically, everyone has such a deep passion for what they do because it's so competitive.
It's a bug. I mean, I've talked to like the family members that I have that are in it. Like, it's like, you got to commit to it. Like, if you're going to do something like this for your life, you got to
work for it
to do it. Like every day you have to be obsessed with it in a certain way. And yeah, I mean, you're speaking the exact same thing I've been told. So
yeah. So what was your inspiration for, you know, not working in this industry, but like what sparked your love for like acting, stuff like that? Was that your family members, or was that more so like, did you watch something on TV? Did you take a tour? Like what was it for you? It's
kind of like a progression for me. So like I used to watch, and it, you know, my grandpa was a big heavy action fan growing up. Like when I was like little growing up and I'd visited him in Houston, we'd watch movies like Rambo together. We'd watch Terminator together or Predator. And I was like 5 years old. So like, you know, these super violent movies, like not the best for a 5-year-old, but I knew they were fake. But I saw how these characters were and what these guys were doing, you know, and I was just like, wait, people can do that? Like that's the coolest thing ever. Like, these stories are awesome, you know? And so then when I was growing up and I was still living in Texas and I started doing theater in 4th grade, my mom was like, you seem to really enjoy that, Cuatro. Like, when we move to California, we're going to sign you up for some more stuff like that because you seem to really love that. And so that's where I started my theater journey. And, like, you know, when I'd been playing with toys as a little kid, like, I'd always be directing, like, the way that the soldiers would die and, like, you know, the kind of super iconic deaths that they would have, like, shooting each other in the plastic battlefields and whatnot. And so for me, it was just, like, it started out very young, and it was always just, like, the movies had always influenced, like, how I could, like, creatively, like, just express myself in a sense. And since my mom throwing me into theater the way that she did, like, you know, I kind of got to really develop a sense of my own self around the characters that I could play as, you know, and it was just like, I could be whoever I want, you know, because I'm playing characters who are all different, who are all their own thing, and I can, you know, be my own person in my own way. And so that's, yeah, I think that's the general progression of how that all started for me.
That's awesome. Like, from such a young age, I feel like for me, what really sparked my love for entertainment, I mean, when I was little, I was dancing my whole life. So it was like I was always in more so the arts.
Yes.
Not industry, but like arts field was everything that I did, and I was very arts oriented.
Yeah.
So I remember.
I mean, dance is hard too.
And
it's a grind.
It's still my life, but it was my life for my entire childhood and high school career. But for me, it was mostly like have you ever been on a studio like tour of one of the big like production studios?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was middle school maybe.
Oh, okay. I see.
And my parents took me to Warner Brothers for the very first time. We took the studio tour. This was like right in the beginning of my obsession with Friends. And just like, I don't, if anyone's ever gone on these tours, they take you on like a tram little cart thing.
It's like a bus, like an open air bus, and they'll drive you down the hill, and you'll get to see all the movies.
Yeah, and they're just like talking about it, and like you're seeing people walking around in the field,
and they're working, and they're getting to walk down there and work on that stuff. And
exactly,
I'm like,
and it's normalized.
They're working in like a fake place, like that. I totally get what you're saying.
It was just so cool, and I remember I was there, and I was like to my parents, I was like, I would love to do this in the future, and I don't even know what that looks like, but that just felt like such a far-fetched, like far out there dream of mine. I was like, no, like, I mean, my mom works in healthcare and my dad works in like hospitality and like amusement park industry, so like very not in like the whole arts world. So I was very nervous at first, like when I was like, okay, I want to dabble in like journalism, when I've been telling my whole family for the longest time that I wanted to go into healthcare and be a doctor. So it was just like, I was so far on that path for most of my life. But it was that studio tour that really sparked it for me. And then I went back a couple years later on another studio tour of Warner Brothers because I was so obsessed with it. And I was like, I'm older now. I've watched more movies, stuff like that. I wanted to go back and see it again. And it just, that's what did it for me. It was amazing.
It still strikes the same iron, you know? It's still like, oh, I totally understand what you're talking about, because I know exactly how you feel.
Like that exact feeling.
And that flooding part, you know, do you remember that part where the village floods and whatnot, and they show you the movie scene where they were flooding it, and I was just like, that's the coolest thing ever in my opinion. So like, yeah,
movie magic.
Yeah, insane. Exactly, movie magic.
And I'm like just seeing this, and like the coolest thing for me was like seeing the sets that I've seen on TV, and like you are so, I mean, it's so amazing that when you watch it, you think it's so real. So you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I'm actually in this fake place. Like,
it's pretty, it's so awesome.
It was amazing, but that's really what did it for me.
Well, that's a great origin story, honestly. Like, that's incredible. I mean, it was
fun. I'm excited. It's
as Warner you should Brothers, be. I mean, USC too, though. Like, USC is the premier sort of like school to be in for entertainment. So I mean,
it's crazy.
Like, you know, kudos to you, Gabby.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Also, kudos to you too for like just putting yourself out there and switching everything around and making like, you know, making yourself known in the industry. Like that's incredible. Like I can just tell your work ethic is really strong, and it's exactly what you need in the future.
100%.
Have you had any mentors like at the University of Arizona that have helped you, or have you had any mentors in general that you've been working with that, you know, have helped you with like your acting reel and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would say like definitely like an original mentor of mine was definitely like my mom, because she kind of put into the idea that like, you know, it doesn't have to be like what you do doesn't have to be, you know, doesn't have to be like super successful immediately. You know, you, as long as you love doing what you're doing, like you're doing the right thing for yourself, you know. And so my mom instilled that into me really early on. But also like a period of time when I was younger, before like probably like 12 to 14 range, I went to like acting school as well, like over the weekends, and it was like in Century City. And
That's so cool.
It was Gary Spatz, the playground, and there was one of the acting coaches there, Lee Sullivan, I think her last name was. But she was just, I mean, she was awesome. Like, she was such an expressive. She was, like, she knew how to direct, like, super well, especially, like, how to get, like, your tension down and your emotion and whatnot, and the intention of your character, too. Because it's all, like, very psychological when you're acting, and how you want to interact with, like, other people while you're acting. It's so, like, it's so, like, layered and built it on itself. But she was an incredible mentor of mine, and she taught me, like, really how to, you know, sharpen up my chops in a sense. And then like here in Arizona, I would say it's just not necessarily a mentor, but like a signifier that like I know I'm doing the right thing is all of the friends I've made in the film program, and all the people that I know in the film program. I mean, they have been just some of the kindest people I've ever met in my entire life, and they're like verbal, like just praise, and they're like, yes, like, be a part of our stuff, like, you're a friend, like, all that kind of stuff. It's just, like, that's what's really been keeping me, like, yeah, I'm definitely in the right spot, so.
That's awesome, and I feel like for the industry, like, who you surround yourself with and the people that, like, help build you up are really, really, really important, and I feel like, especially working in, like, the arts specifically, like, breaking into, like, acting and stuff like that, like, you need the reassurance that, like, oh, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah. I mean, my peers are incredible. Like, every single one of my peers. I'm so fortunate to have met everyone, and to have made so many new friends, and to have been a part of so many incredible projects. Like, it's so awesome. It really is. So if you want to get the part of the film program at Arizona, please do, because it's really awesome.
I took an acting class my sophomore year for fun. Like, it was like the TAR 100. Yeah. Never done acting in my entire life. I mean, I do like I do UATV. I do a lot of like on-camera journalism stuff, but it's so different.
It's a different form of acting, you know. It's like, you know, you're doing like and it's not to diminish what it is.
Oh, no, it's not like, acting at all. It's completely different. So like, go for it.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's completely different. But what were you gonna say?
Oh, it was just like, it was one of the coolest classes I think I've ever taken at the University of Arizona. Just like being able, like, to
scream,
like, and like express yourself in a different way that you didn't even know you could like do. Like going into character, it felt very similar for like when I do dance and stuff like that. I feel like I'm going out of my own body and going into like the music and the sound and the movement.
That's really cool. I mean, that's awesome.
So,
that's a great way to describe it. Because
I feel like that's the same with acting.
To dance for you.
Yeah, and I feel like
that's
I feel like it's probably the same with acting.
It is, because like, well, I don't know. It's like, it's weird because like I know. Like, with acting, you sort of create an image, and you create sort of an intention and, like, a perception of your character. And so it turns into, like, this kind of, it's your own sort of making. And then, obviously, you get direction from, like, you know, the director. But, like, on a personal, like, level for, like, me, for instance, it's like, who is this person? What do they want? Why do they want it? You know, how are they doing today? You know, what has happened to them in their life? And all this kind of stuff. And it really pulls you away from, like, who you are, like, as Cuatro, and it turns you into that dancer or the actor that you're doing your whole thing with. So
that's awesome.
It's very
it translates.
Cool. It definitely translates. Like the way you describe that, it's how it feels for me too.
That's so cool. So how do you usually get in character? Like, is that like what you said? You think back of like who this person is, or like, because I mean, trying to flip a switch for like yourself into somebody completely different is probably really hard.
I mean, yeah, I mean, in a sense it is, but also it's like kind of just how, I guess, like, there has to always be intention, you know, and so if you intentionally, like, go into it, like, you kind of also, you like, there's a whole big thing where it's like, no one can really see you sweat unless you show them you're sweating, right? You know, it's like when musicians mess up a note, it's like the average Joe isn't going to know when you're messing up the note or whatnot. So a lot of it is just kind of like, you know, playing around at the same time. But for the most part, it's like very intentional, you know, and it's like it kind of is like a switch in a sense where, you know, it's either like a breathing exercise or sort of like I'll just like do a little raspberry or something just to kind of like wipe the head or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's honestly just like how I'm feeling at that moment. I don't know really, because I mean, maybe with some more time I'll be able to kind of like really describe that process. But ultimately for me, it's just been like, I know who I am and I know what the character I'm playing as is. So so with that, it's just like, okay, now I'm this person.
Yeah.
And then I'm going back to Cuatro.
That's so cool. Like, just hearing your whole process and everything in general, like how your mind works, like with acting and stuff like that. I feel like I haven't like actually talked to somebody who's like so invested and so interested in it. And it's so cool.
I mean, it's really fun. So I love it a lot.
Do you have any like leaving tips or advice or anything for people who are trying to break into the industry, people who are wanting to get involved in acting, stuff like that? Like what are your biggest piece of advice?
I would say like almost like a blind self-belief in yourself gets you pretty far, because I mean, as long as you know who you want to be, you know, and you believe in that, then like you could be blind about it in a sense.
Yeah.
Like it's like keep going for it, keep pushing for it, because you never know when your time is going to shine. Like there are so many of those kinds of swan stories in how people have gotten into the industry, you know? Like I mean, there's stuff about like Harrison Ford, you know, stuff about like Glenn Howerton, Charlie Day, like these guys who like were trying to get in for so long, just so happened to, once that moment hit, you know, they got in and then it became their, and they became, you know, and that's just because they believed. They just blindly believed and they didn't stop. And as long as you blindly believe and you just kind of don't stop, then, I mean, there's really, sky's the limit almost. You know,
there's nothing holding you back.
The sky's pretty much the limit, so, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm like, wish I could give advice on, like, acting and stuff like that. Obviously, I can't because I'm not in that field. I can give a little bit of advice for people wanting to just break into entertainment as a whole. I usually, like, at the end of my podcast episodes, usually I'm like, okay, what kind of advice do I have? Like, stuff like that. What have I learned? So I feel like my biggest piece of advice, kind of going off of what you said, is just putting yourself out there. Yeah. And, like, just putting yourself out there and meeting people, and those connections really will last a lifetime if you are consistent with them. And I feel like, for me, like, completely different side of, like, entertainment as a whole, but I've been, you know, just making those connections, meeting people, and just believing in myself. And I feel like you said, if you believe in yourself, you're going to put your best foot forward. You're going to put your best work forward. Yeah. And you're really going to, you know, make a name for yourself.
It's that intention, because that intention shows others that, like, oh, she wants to be about this, you know, they want to be a part of this. They want to do this the way that we want to do this, you know, so why wouldn't we give them a shot? Why wouldn't we give them the opportunity to, you know? So, like, yeah, completely, 100%.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's all we have. Thank you for coming on the podcast episode. This was awesome.
You're welcome, Gabby. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be a part of this.
Oh, thank you. Nice. I'm like, we're gonna have to stay in contact in the future because we both kind of have the same trajectory, but different ways.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
Who knows what's gonna happen? Give us 5 years and then we'll know.
And then we'll hit you guys up again.
And then we'll know. Well, thank you again for tuning into Gabbing with Gabby, an entertainment podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I certainly had so much fun talking about all this, but yeah, thank you.